to narrate your problems. But then, a call handler is trained to guide you and ask you questions. So, can you see a conflict here? Yes. It's making a request from the victim versus asking questions from the call handlers. There's a conflict right here. Oh, so here, this is the YouTube clip that I want to show you, actually. This is the one, but don't worry about it. You can watch it yourself later. That's the first point. When you collect evidence, the victim and the call handler has different goals, okay? The second point I want to make is we converge to the professional, to the legal professionals. Let me show you an example. I remember Peggy actually shared with us last week. She said, when the judge asked the suspect, is your name such and such? And the person said, 是. Do you live in such and such place? 是. Okay, yes, yes, with a very standard retroflex sound, very standard pronunciation when he usually speaks in a non-standard dialect, okay? Here, it's evidence of convergence. You talk like the legal professionals to please them. Here, in ordinary conversation, when we speak English, we say, first he did such and such, then he did such and such, then he, right? That's our everyday English conversation. But in legal professionals, the pattern is different. They use he, then, okay? So for example, the lawyer and the witness conversation. Question from the lawyer. And what did he then say? What did he then say? That's lawyer's talk. Okay? That's the witness, ordinary people's talk. He then phoned for such and such. It's ordinary people's usage. He then. That's the lawyer's talk. Sorry, did I say it wrong? Okay, here's evidence of convergence. When the witness talks to the lawyer, usually it's then he. In this case, he used 是. So he then phoned for an ambulance. He then went downstairs. He then canceled the ambulance. So that's convergence. Now, let's look at negotiation with a bomber. Negotiation with a bomber. You have to basically use a strategy of active listening to calm him down. Well, I guess it's a discrimination because I use him. Maybe I should say him or her. Him or her. Listen to the bomber. Negotiate with him or her and establish rapport with him or her. Establish rapport, meaning I'm with you. You can trust me. I won't hurt you. I'm going to help you, do whatever you want to solve your problems. So, here's a YouTube clip from, let me see, it's 谢长廷. It's an interview. I'm not going to play it. You can listen to it. 谢长廷 recounted what happened several years ago when he tried to negotiate with Chen Jingxing and tried to calm him down so that he placed his weapons down and finally released, released the hostages, right? Yeah. You can watch this on your own. But in other words, okay, so this is another important strategy when you talk to, this is the strategy to talk to legal professionals. This is the opposite strategy to talk to criminals, okay? All right? Now, my very last point is to show you when a judge questions you, she or he has a purpose, a goal-focused purpose, okay? A very goal-oriented, goal-focused collection of evidential facts for legal decision-making. I'm going to show you what happened, what I observed the other day. I want to show you my observations in the courtroom when I visited with Xu Youjing and Huang Yidi and Peggy. Okay, the very last page. Yeah. Okay, because this illustrates very well with my third point, creation of the statement. When I went there, well, I'll skip all these things. I basically noticed 4 things when I was sitting in the courtroom with the 2 gentlemen and the lady there, sitting, and my husband, who were sitting in the back, you know, facing, we were sitting here, and the defendant is over there. It's the prosecutor was sitting right here, and the judge there, okay? And the clerks were busy typing everything. Oh, interestingly, before I share my observations, I noticed that when we were sitting there, the 2 gentlemen were avoiding eye gaze with the defendant. Okay. In other words, they were sitting there. The defendant is on the left, but they didn't look at him. They were facing forward. Didn't look at them. And then I asked them, why didn't you look at the criminals? There's a drug addict who was questioned, drug addict. They didn't. Can you tell me what you said, Yidi? Yidi told me why he avoided any eye gaze with the drug addict or the criminals.
I don't want to make her feel angry or adverse.
Right, because he views eye gaze as threatening. That's interesting. In Western culture, eye gaze is considered respect, right? But of course, in the courtroom, that's a different situation. In the courtroom, eye gaze can be hateful. But in this case, it's a cultural thing too. Yidi told me, your mother told you,
don't look at that guy.
Don't look at bad guys. So that's our cultural upbringing. Okay, avoid any eye gaze. Don't look at bad guys. You might get yourself in trouble. So that's their response, their behavior. I thought it was very interesting. I was watching them, how they or how they look at or not look at the criminals. Anyway, these are the 4 observations when I was sitting there. This is exactly, the first 3 are exactly what I want to say about creation of the statement. The police ask the defendant, when did you give money to Mr. So-and-so? And the defendant said, I don't remember. And the judge said, how long ago? And he said, probably a year. They say, I don't remember. And then the judge say, a year to 3 years? They say, I don't remember, probably, yes, a year to 3 years. And then the judge asked the clerk to write down, what did I say before?
I think the account.
Okay, I gave my account to Mr. Chen Wuxiong about 1 or 3 years ago. I gave my account to Mr. Chen Wuxiong 1 to 3 years ago. In other words, the judge actually put words into the defendant's mouth, right? He didn't remember a thing. Sometimes he said 10 years ago, 10 years, 8 to 10 years ago. He didn't remember a thing. But you notice that everything is turned into a statement after questioning the suspect. So this is creation of the statement. The next point is, I also notice the judge asked the defendant, do you agree to use the prosecutor's statement as evidence? She said it in Chinese. 你是否同意将起诉书所在内容拿来当证据用? Do you agree to use the prosecutor's statement as evidence? Then the defendant didn't understand. What do you mean by evidence? So they had several turns, back and forth, trying to understand, what evidence is. Still, unsuccessfully, because the judge couldn't translate it into any simpler language without changing the meaning of the statement. That was very frustrating. We've been sitting there, looking at these two people arguing back and forth. Usually you don't argue with a judge, but like Xu Youjing said, he noticed 3 things. Number 1, the judge is too young. It's a young female judge. Of course, the old man didn't respect this young female judge who apparently is very inexperienced. Number 2, Xu Youjing said, the victim is poor, right? He didn't understand a thing. He was trying to say, I'm innocent, but nobody listens to him. And number 3, he also said the prosecutor is mean because the prosecutor who speaks Taiwanese tries to negotiate with the suspect, saying that, if you admit you did something wrong, then maybe you can have certain, shortening of your sentence or some kind of privilege. So when he listened to the prosecutor who spoke his language as a man-to-man talk, finally this old man calmed down and was willing to say, yes, I'm wrong. I did something wrong. He admitted everything. He said, I was wrong. Actually, it's not his fault, but he said, I was wrong. I'm going to follow your decision. That's why he said the prosecutor is mean. The prosecutor is mean. All right. What's really ridiculous is the very last point. While they are creating the statement, the judge asks the drug addict by saying, who else is in your family? Xu Youjing, do you remember? The judge asked the drug addict, who else is in your family? Can you recreate that scene? What did he say? I have
parents.
Okay, I have parents.
2 children.
Wait, before 2 children.
A
I
wife.
have parents, a wife, and 2
2 children.
children. One is in high school, first year high school, right? The other is 3rd year in high school. Then the female judge asked the following question. 后面都是你的家人吗? It can be interpreted both ways. One is, are the people seated in the back your family members? Or are the people following the sentence, because they look at all the written records when the clerks type everything while the judge is talking, and they type it into statement. So the judge said, 后面都是你的家人吗? Guess what the drug addict said? 是. He said, yes. My first interpretation was this. probably he meant, when you look at the statement, the following sentences. So the two high school children are his family. That's my interpretation. But then we all look at each other. We were all sitting in the back, my husband and I, Xu Jing, Wang Yidi, and Peggy. We were the only people sitting there looking at each other. Then the police who was guarding there, he talked to us ahead of time. He knew that we are from Zhongzheng University. We are here, just to audit what's going on. So he stepped in. He said, "No, no. These people are from Zhongzheng University. They're studying linguistics." So that's ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever encountered in a professional setting like that. Fortunately, the police, corrected the record. Otherwise, I was wondering who was his mother? Am I his mother? And my husband is father? And how about these two young gentlemen, his sons? And how about this woman? That's ridiculous. But anyway, we had fun there. So that's my impression after visiting the courthouse. I can finally relate what it says here, creation of the statement, clearly with what I observed, the most ridiculous thing in the courthouse. Okay, I'm done. Any questions? I finished chapter 3 and 4. Basically, I just want to show you, the call handlers has to be trained to collect evidence, and we talk in a certain way to the criminals, or we talk to the legal professionals in a certain way. But in the process of creation of the statement, something like this may happen in Jiayi District Court. Okay, if you don't believe me, go there with your friend. See if the judge will ask you the same question to find out on your own. It's fun. Okay, any questions? All right, if not, for next week, I would like you to revise your proposal. Now you already decided what you want to do, right? You only need to send one version if you are in the same group, just one version. One version. You revise it, finalize it. Is that clear? To send one version as a group.
Only one of the members needs to upload, right? Or everyone needs to upload?
I think everyone needs to upload, so I have a record. And it also holds you accountable, because it's not just your group leader's responsibility. You all share the same responsibility. Okay, so you send me a revised version. I'll create, assignment slot, so you can submit your revised version. And you have also decided, you agree with me to follow the tentative schedule I proposed. Now it's our finalized schedule. Starting 29th of November, Liang Yici and her group are going to present their first case. Meanwhile, next week, we still have one more case to cover, which is, what is a person? What is a person? So that's a case on abortion and on stem cell research conflict. You can read the same article which talks about two other cases, Clinton Lewinsky's scandal, and what's the second one? Florida vote conflict. The third case is stem cell research conflict.